Matt Rife is quite possibly the most famous comedian on the planet right now. Maybe not the most history to him, but he's definitely got the most eyes on him. Part of this has to do with his incredibly good looks, but also his incredible comedy accompanying that has definitely made him the talk of the town. The first time Matt Rife really came across my radar, besides watching him get completely curved by Zendaya on Wild 'N Out,
spit that water out so I can get your number, please,
was when he was featured on Bert Kreischer's podcast. I really enjoyed his demeanor, his humor, and really just the way that he presented himself. Honestly, in entirety, he just seemed like a dope dude. After I watched the podcast, I went on to watch his debut special, OnlyFans, that came out in 2021. Also, I would like to note that Matt Rife has gone on to comment on this, that the reason he named his special OnlyFans was just because he knew people would be looking up if he had an OnlyFans, is a genius marketing tactic. Regarding the special, I was really impressed. In the podcast, he was talking about how for his first special, he felt like he had to get all of the jokes about his looks out of the way, because obviously everybody's thinking about it. And in stand-up, an industry full of ugly people, when you got a hot guy, you immediately kind of think they're not going to be as funny, so he had to go ahead and get that out of the way. But all in all, as a debut special, I was impressed. I was laughing, I was having a good time, and I really enjoyed it. I would say that this moment, I became a pretty decent fan of Matt Rife. I made sure to keep up with his TikToks, his clips, and anytime I saw him on a podcast that I liked, I would always tune in. As I kept up with his career, I slowly started noticing more and more people talking about him. Specifically women. I would be getting sent Matt Rife clips from my girlfriend and my mom all the time. And I didn't think much of it. I was like, all right, good for him. Dude that I like a lot. Great stand-up. Starting to see some fame, starting to see some rise. This is great. Then he released his second special, Matthew Stephen Rife. And god damn was this special good. I felt like he did a really good job of pushing the line of offensive humor and what's okay to say, and he didn't really hold anything back. He made sure to keep the audience on their toes, making them expect a certain punchline, but always delivering with something no one would have thought of in the first place. Also, he walked out to Sosa. After this, clips from the special were popping up everywhere, and his numbers just kept growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. However, even though I was seeing his numbers grow, I never really saw what people were saying about him. All that I saw was a comedian I liked starting to get some more notoriety, and I thought that was great. Then, I remember when Matt Rife announced his world tour, and I feel like that's the day that the world cried Matt Rife. Literally everyone on the planet, it seemed like, was talking about it, asking about it, trying to get tickets, trying to buy tickets, posting their sold tickets, or talking about how ridiculous the entire thing was. And this moment is when I really started to see what the internet thought about Matt Rife as a comedian. Because sure, it's very easy to talk about his looks, but as a stand-up fan, I don't really care what he looks like. The only thing I was paying attention to is his material, of which I was really impressed with so far. And that's why I was surprised when I started seeing other stand-up fans' opinions. It seems like there were three camps of people talking about Matt Rife. There were people that wanted to fuck him, there were people that liked his stand-up, and there were people that hated him because people wanted to fuck him. I was unsurprised by the first party, but what surprised me was how many more people there were that hated Matt Rife just because of his looks than there were people that actually enjoyed his stand-up. And that blew me away because, to my observation, Matt Rife was nothing more than a great stand-up. And I was surprised to see that so many people didn't like him, especially stand-up fans, seeing as how he was doing boundary-crossing material. He was pushing the line. He was trying to be a risky comedian, and he wasn't falling into this, oh, I'm a hot fuckboy. Look, he was creating solid comedy. However, almost all the hate I saw coming towards Matt Rife always made some sort of mention about his looks and tried to discredit him as a comedian because of it. And quite frankly, I don't think that's fair. If you are one of the people that wants to discredit Matt Rife just because he's hot, this video is for you. What made me want to watch this video was when I was watching Two Bears, One Cave with Tom Segura and usually Bert Kreischer, but in this case, it was Matt Rife as a guest bear. And the entire time, for an hour and a half, Matt and Tom talked about stand-up. And not just about what's currently going on in stand-up, they were talking about the craft of stand-up comedy. I feel like you really get to see where Matt is coming from as a comedian. He's not trying to be a model. He's not trying to use his, okay, let's be honest. We've seen the shirtless pitch, Matt. Like, we know you're using it to your advantage, and we all would, but like, listen, I'm trying to defend you here. What Matt cares about more than anything else is making good stand-up material and being a good comedian. And that's what I respect a lot about him. Because in a world where he could be making an OnlyFans, where he could be getting modeling sign contracts out the wazoo, where he could be using this massive attention from all the women in the world right now. Instead of keeping all of that attention on himself, he is instead trying to bring that attention to stand-up comedy as a whole. And I think that's awesome, because a lot of people like to comment on how Matt Rife's crowds are almost all women. And sure, they may not be casual stand-up comedy fans. They may not be people that would go to a stand-up show if it wasn't Matt Rife. But I think that's a great thing, because that means that Matt Rife is bringing an entire new group of people that never would have seen stand-up before to a stand-up comedy show. It's great for the stand-up comedy business. So if you're someone that watches stand-up like me and enjoys watching comedy podcasts, enjoys keeping up with the specials coming out, this entire Matt Rife situation is fucking awesome, because all it's gonna do is promote more advertisers to help out stand-up comedy, help more stand-up sell more shows, and help grow the comedy community as a whole. But instead, everyone wants to sit and be jealous of Matt's looks and discredit his comedy, which doesn't make any sense. In every single podcast I have ever seen him in, Matt has been nothing but humble, honest, funny, charismatic, and genuine. And if you're someone that has this wild opinion of Matt Rife just because of his looks or because of something you saw online, literally just watch a podcast. And I promise you, just listen to Matt talk for an hour and a half, get to know the guy before you make these bold claims and start shitting on him all over the internet. Because to be honest, it just looks like you get zero pussy. But that's the world we live in. If you're gonna take time out of your day to shit on someone else just because you don't feel good enough about yourself, sometimes you just can't be helped. But if you don't have an opinion and you've just heard things, I hope that I was able to change your mind. And Matt, if you saw the video, say hi, because I'm a big fan. Appreciate it. This is a shorter video. I didn't have a whole lot to say today, but I appreciate you guys hanging out. Appreciate you guys coming by. My name is Sukimelt, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Deuces.